throw the term narcissism or narcissist around like it's water, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
But it's a true diagnosis.
Yes.
Like true, it is, right?
It is in the diagnostic manual.
So we need to be a little more like aware of what we're saying when we throw around narcissist.
Right.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Okay.
Welcome to It's a Mental Thing, the podcast that dives deep into the power of the mind and the heart of mental health. Whether you're navigating life's challenges, seeking balance, or simply curious about how to care for your mind, you're in the right place. Each week, we explore stories, strategies, and expert insights to help you build resilience, find clarity, and embrace a healthier you. So take a deep breath and let's journey together toward a brighter, more mindful tomorrow. Welcome to It's a Mental Thing, because your mental health matters.
Okay, so I'll, in a heartbeat, if I'm just throwing around, I'll be like, oh, what a narcissist.
Yeah.
Like, I'll just throw that around about someone, right?
Uh-huh.
But in reality, what is a narcissist?
So most people kind of have connected narcissistic personality disorder or narcissism or a narcissist with relationships, whether it's a parent, whether it's a friend, or mostly relationships, romantic relationships. They just love to say, well, they were just a narcissist anyways. Mm-hmm. But in the diagnostic manual, narcissistic personality disorder is a mental health condition characterized by a persistent pattern of self-importance, a need for admiration, and a lack of empathy for others. So it's more than just a touch of like self-centeredness or cockiness or confidence. It's almost like a persistent pattern of behavior that can significantly impact relationships and daily life.
So is it a true like mental illness? I mean, can I be diagnosed narcissist and that's a disorder?
Well, the truth is most like providers aren't even really sure where it came from and how people have it. The only thing research shows is that this is going to sound kind of crazy even for people listening, but research has shown that people who grow up to be a narcissist, a true narcissist, have narcissistic personality disorder, have extremely low self-esteem. So it's counteractive.
Well, then that makes sense.
Yeah. So internally they have this low self-esteem, but if we look back at childhood, they might have been parented by a very intense parent, or they might have been parented in a way that they were told they were good at everything. So it ends up being just how they're hardwired, and they turn into this person of, well, I'm better at that than you, and I can run faster than you. I am good enough for any lady, any man, any friendship. I deserved that job because I'm better than you. Again, that lack of empathy.
Right.
And more than just a little bit of self-confidence. Like, everybody can have confidence.
Sure.
But when it's more and your ego is so, you feel like you're so important and you do not have empathy. These people don't have empathy for anyone.
It's not just that little, I'm having a moment of selfishness, or I'm just like really proud of myself at this moment in time. Like, it's not coming and going. It's a consistent thing. Okay.
And so that's why when it says it can significantly impact relationships, because I hear so many stories all day long, mostly from women, but sometimes from men as well, but where healing from a narcissistic relationship that has ended is extremely hard because they've been in this relationship for so long, and all of a sudden, like, the rug is ripped out from under them of this person they thought that they fell in love with. And then they start seeing these tendencies become a daily life pattern for that person. Yeah. And so when they're healing, or if anybody's healing from some sort of narcissistic behavior or a pattern or a relationship, you have to look inside and remember, hey, that wasn't a me thing. That was a them thing. That was their behavior. That was their choice. All of those things are who they are. And I like to tell people to let people show you who they are rather than tell you who they are, because a narcissistic person is going to be charming, is going to know what to say, is going to be friendly, is going to be very confident in who they are and how they meet you. Again, whether it's a relationship, what you grew up with, a friendship, a workship, whatever it may be, these people know how to do that. But what they lack is that empathy of, when this is over, I've gotten what I wanted, I want to move on, I don't really like this anymore. They're not going to have that empathy.
Them.
No, right, exactly. And they're not going to have that empathy that you're hoping that they have. And that's where it's so sad, because especially women, we want closure, but someone who's truly narcissistic,
you're never going to get it.
No, they don't even see it.
Right.
It's not even in their radar to see, oh, she probably feels hurt by this. He probably feels hurt by this. They don't see that. Which it's very hard for people who don't have a narcissistic bone in their body, to understand what that's like. But these people, and this isn't to give them an excuse, but it's simply just how they're wired.
You know, another thing, as you're talking about this, I'm thinking of not even narcissism in relationships, right? Like men and women, romantic type relationships, but narcissism, I have seen a lot more so as I've gotten older and people's parents have gotten older. They're seeing narcissism within their parents that they never, or at least narcissistic tendencies, let me say that, in their parents that they never saw before. And it's really strange. I mean, I've had some thoughts of that myself in my relationships. And I'm like, where did this come from? Because I didn't ever see this growing up.
Yeah.
So is it like trauma induced? Is it, what is it?
It is. And like I said earlier, research doesn't know exactly where it comes from or what the embedded part of it is, other than how that person was raised. But with change and with age, people change and things change and their behaviors change. But if you've truly been diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder, which most people with narcissistic personality disorder, do you think they go?
Absolutely not, because there's nothing wrong with them.
Yeah. So what they're doing is they're hurting the people around them. And meanwhile, not getting help for themselves. And I did write down some characteristics and behaviors that we can go through to talk about what this personality disorder actually looks like. Yeah. We've talked about this one, but they have a really big sense of self-importance. So they're important.
Right.
And they know they're important. They feel important.
They're going to let you know.
They're going to let you know they're important. And everyone around them, that they're important. They have this huge sense of self-importance. But individuals with, and I'll just shorten it, NPD, so narcissistic personality disorder, exaggerate their achievements and talents and believe that they are superior or extra special. So that's one of them. So their sense of self-importance, their need of excessive admiration.
Yes.
So they require, these people, again, we're not talking about just a tendency. I do believe we all have some sort of tendency of, hey, I'm good at this. That can be cocky. That can be high self-esteem and confidence. Doesn't mean it's a narcissistic personality disorder.
Okay.
But this person, the excessive admiration, they require constant attention and praise, really, for what they're doing, what they've done, what they even haven't done. And then they become really, really easily agitated or angry if they don't receive it.
It's really interesting to hear you talk through these traits because, like, there is a person in my life who I know is a narcissist. And when I think of these traits that you're saying, it's dead on, especially the agitation that comes with not feeling like the praise is enough, the attention is enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
They let it be known. It's a very different kind of anger. The next one is lack of empathy. We did touch about that a little bit on that, but they have a difficulty sense of self as far as like understanding and sharing their feelings with other people. They almost won't do that usually, but then often view themselves as a tool by being used for other people. So that seems a little confusing, but what that means is I'm not going to tell you anything about myself truly and how I feel and what I'm feeling. You can dump all your stuff on me, but they may use that as a tool against you at some point.
Is it somewhat of like a savior complex too?
Yes.
Because it's like they're perfect in a sense and they can help you.
Right. But in turn, they don't care what you're going through. And I know this sounds so harsh, and it's just the reality of what this disorder is. So just trying to break the line of what narcissistic tendencies are versus a true narcissist.
Because like I said, we throw the word around so much. So like, is your mother, father, brother, sister, romantic partner, are they actually a narcissist, or are they having moments of cockiness and just being a jerk, maybe?
Yeah, because someone could have low empathy.
Right.
And that's just who they are.
Right.
Because you can't change who a person is. And at our age, we're not changing anyone.
Yeah.
And if that's who they've been, and if that's who they've shown you that they are, then it's time to move away from that relationship, whatever kind of relationship it is. And it's okay to leave that because if you're with someone and if you're okay with how they've treated you, or this person is actively getting treatment, they can get treatment. It's cognitive behavioral therapy. Most of the time with CBT, what I do a lot is we're trying to rewire that brain.
Right.
So if I had a narcissistic patient, they're going to, come in and maybe spit out this stuff about how good they are. And I'm not going to look at them and be like, you're terrible at that. I'm not going to do that. But I'm going to help them think differently. And I'm going to help them be able to understand, oh, maybe I'm not as good as I think I am. Maybe I am hurting the ones around me that love me the most. And I don't know why I'm doing that. Because again, even in my notes, it's really not fully understood, but we believe it came from early life development. And, you're good at everything. Why don't you just go sing? Okay, well, we then hear them sing, and they're not a good singer. But in their head, they very much think that they are. They've been told all these years, you're good at this, you're good at this, you're never going to fail, you're always going to win. So then they're hardwired into thinking, well, that's who I am. I'm good at everything.
Earlier when I asked, could it have come from a trauma that they experienced? And I think the reason I asked that, could it be a form of self-preservation?
100%.
Because they've gone through something.
Yeah.
Walls are now up, protecting themselves at all costs.
Absolutely. It's a coping mechanism. So they've got their walls up of what would be normal self-confidence.
Yeah.
But this is more of I'm so good, you're not going to break this wall down. And when or if something is broken within that person, they're not going to let you know. Or if they do, it's your fault and not theirs. So it's very tricky, and it's very hard to understand this diagnosis. And it's very hard on the people who truly are in these kind of relationships, because they were with this person and they were charmed and they were, swept off their feet. But then all of a sudden they're like, who is this person and
Yeah.
why am I just now seeing it? Because especially if we think of love, we don't want to see the red flags at first. And when we take that step back or when we take that pause, I like to call it a pause because we don't have to do a no contact. You know, divorce does not have to happen in narcissistic relationships. Now, hear me, if there's abuse, if there's physical abuse, verbal abuse,
For sure.
totally different story. But if this person is just truly narcissistic, there is help, but it is very hard for both parties in whatever relationship. So some important considerations for these people is one, to note that narcissistic personality disorder definitely is going to impact the relationships, which is going to lead to conflict and difficulty maintaining a healthy connection. So that's the key there is if this person doesn't decide to get help or treatment, it's going to be very difficult to maintain some sort of healthy connection or a relationship.
Right.
It's important to seek professional help if you've recognized all of these patterns for yourself and it's affecting your daily life. And it's very important to encourage that person to get help because like we said earlier, they're not going to want to.
No.
They're not going to want to, but maybe there's that one friend in their life that can say, Nicole, you don't care about what anybody said or how they're feeling. This girl over here is crying and you just were like, oh, well, you know, I could be that friend. And I would, now you may not hear me at all, or you may still just be like, oh, well, but if I was your friend and wanted to help you in that, I would encourage you to talk to someone. So if you know someone that truly struggles with these things, ask them, like, tell them, I'll go with you. Ask for help.
Right.
Those kinds of things. The last one that I wanted to note is, so while this behavior can be extremely challenging and individuals with narcissistic personality disorder are not inherently bad people, their behavior is often rooted in a deep-seated insecurity that they have.
Yeah.
And they feel the need to maintain this impressive behavior.
Right.
So that's that coping mechanism you were talking about.
Self-preservation. Yep.
And so again, that doesn't mean they're bad people because oftentimes they're very charming. Oftentimes they're very nice to other people. Oftentimes you would never suspect it until you are in it and you're in it deep. And then it's like, oh, and they may not see it. So it's so important for people to recognize it in other people that they're around and set that bar for them, support them, get them the treatment that they need so that they can learn different coping skills rather than that protective wall of I'm so important, nobody's breaking this down, and letting them know it's okay to ask for help and to admit, I'm someone who has low empathy.
Yeah.
And I'm someone who, if you leave me, bye, and that hurts the other person.
Right.
So, and then that leaves the narcissist lonely. They may never admit that.
Yeah.
But so people are getting hurt in these kind of relationships. But again, a narcissistic tendency is, I'm really good at that. I know I'm good at that. Okay. But again, we can compare that to more like high confidence and cockiness.
Right.
Narcissistic people, no empathy, very high importance rate of themselves.
Yeah.
And the sense of being very easily agitated and angered if they do not receive the praise that they feel they need or deserve.
Yeah.
Even if they moved a table.
Right.
Scooted a table over. Thanks, honey. That was great. I really appreciate that. When we're over here thinking, I could have moved that table. But that's not what that other person is thinking.
So if you're wanting to maintain these relationships with people who are true narcissists or have narcissistic tendencies, it seems like, number one, you've got to be aware of, you need to educate yourself and be aware of what they are actually
What are
dealing
those
with.
red flags? What are they?
That, number one. But then two, communication.
Yeah.
Like, speaking it, not being afraid to say, let's go get help, let's go talk to someone,
Yeah.
just continuing the conversation. Otherwise, that crazy cycle is just it's going to be a cycle. You're never
And
going
it's
to
just
get
hurt. It's
Yeah.
pain. And I think about patients that have lived in it in a long time, and there's just weeping involved because the other person never feels good enough.
Yeah.
But it's because their cup isn't being filled. They're depleting their cup by giving to this other person, but this person actually has the inability to give them empathy and compassion back. And so when I said earlier, kind of like run for the hills, if you see it before you're married or you see it in a friendship, it is who they are.
Yeah.
And it is very hard for them and it's very complicated. So again, talking to them about it, recognizing it when you see it, and either making that decision to say, this could be a great relationship. However, I can't get stuck in that and I don't want to feel that hurt because I want to feel loved. I want to feel good enough. I want empathy from my partner or my friend or my parent, But if you're with someone who's incapable of doing that and it's their daily life pattern, again, let them show you who they truly are. They will do it quickly. Don't chase them. Don't beg them to change. Don't ask them to, hey, let me change you. Can I change you? You can't. So let them show you who they are one time, because that one time is it. That's all
enough.
It takes. And then let yourself remove yourself quietly and let your silence speak huge volumes to them, and let them kind of see maybe my behavior is what caused it.
Right.
Man,
that's a tough one.
It's so complicated. It's a really complicated one.
This is not like we can get a diagnosis, take some medication, and move on from it.
It's a lot of work.
It's definitely going to be a lifelong work, but it's workable.
Right.
It is workable, and I think that's the hope there.
Yeah.
But if you're in a relationship or have someone in your life like that, I think even getting therapy for yourself would just be so helpful. Just to be able to talk through, because let's say you could go no contact, right?
Yeah.
But if you don't want to, or whatever the case may be, like, sit down with your therapist and talk through, how do I put up healthy boundaries?
Yeah, and how do I stay strong through this?
Right.
And understand that that's them, but this is me.
Yeah.
And not let that hurt become something that is too much for you to become a shell of yourself. That's the one thing that we don't want. Is that we're not going to become a shell of ourselves. We're going to let them be who they are. We're going to be who we are. And we can move on, and we can do this in a healthy way, but also recognizing if we're with a narcissistic personality person, that connection is going to be harder.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Be sure to follow our podcast on your favorite platform or find us on YouTube. Just a quick note, It's a Mental Thing is here to inform and inspire, but it's not a substitute for professional medical advice. If you're facing a mental health challenge, we encourage you to seek help from a licensed therapist like Erica or a healthcare provider.